And this is the trillion-dollar opportunity, not an idea, an opportunity, a proven opportunity. The smart phases NovaCab thermal energy storage and conversion system, TESS. TESS generations 1 through 3 were installed by the inventor under contract to various mechanical engineering companies across Canada over about 15 years. 42 locations, $50 million worth of projects, and all of that money reinvested in making TESS a smarter, better answer for the world today. I'm Michael Logan, the Chief Executive Officer of MP Logan & Associates, and very proudly, we together as MPLA are the Operations and Marketing Division Department contractor for Smart Phases Incorporated. Dr. Stefan Bilodeau, inventor of the Smart Phases Thermal Energy Storage System, which is a substance, the synthetic phase change material, think water to ice to steam, and the process in which it's used. So incredibly strong intellectual property. One-of-a-kind technology around the world. When I first encountered it in 2015, and at the time I was COO for an engineering company, I had my chief engineer check it out, a very good friend of mine. He said, "Mike, nothing in the world like it. It does exactly what they say," and I was hooked. And I'll tell you more about what we do here in a second, how we do it. But if you can see right there, cuts power consumption in the shopping mall, the commercial building, power plant, 20 to 40%. TESS increases utility scale solar megawatt hour output by capturing that heat and converting it to electricity, directly to electricity. I'll tell you how that's done here in a minute. Coal, natural gas power plants, they can remain online longer, maybe minimize, possibly eliminate the need for cooling towers. They can reduce their fuel consumption and increase their output at the same time. Data centers were an immediate source of power backup. We capture that heat from the servers, we store it, and we can convert it directly to electricity. Here's how that works. Think of a shipping container size, 8 foot by 8 foot by 20, about 85+% of that is blocks of ice, synthetic phase change material ice, programmed to melt at a specific temperature, whatever temperature required by the project. And then inside of that is another large box that contains a turbine, and in it is a liquid synthetic phase change material that will become steam where Dr. Bilodeau wants it to. And the neat thing about it is, unlike water steam, which increases 1,600 times in volume, this does not. And so the pressure constraints aren't there and aren't necessary. So this box can store 3.5 million BTUs of thermal energy and has a static output of 1 megawatt. So, and it can charge and discharge simultaneously. We can talk more about the technology, and happy to get into that with you at another time. But what happens is that then there's a third component that manages all of that. It's an artificial intelligence controller, and that integrates with buildings, power plants, factories, wherever it's being installed. Again, one-of-a-kind technology. Smart Phases has the exclusive global right to exploit these patents and take them to market through authorized distributors and through licensed manufacturers. It is an amazing transformative technology. Let me tell you how big the market is. Every year we drill, generate, purchase about $6 trillion worth of energy globally. And every year we waste about $3 trillion worth of that energy. That is recoverable. It's recoverable in our commercial buildings. It's recoverable in our factories. It's recoverable in our power plants. We can recover it. We're talking to an oil refinery right now, for example, who wants to be able to capture the heat from those stacks and redirect it into this unit so that they're buying less electricity from the grid, and so that they have an emergency power backup in case of a weather-related interruption. That is phenomenal. And guess what? Even that petroleum refinery reduces its carbon footprint. It's less impactful on the environment as we stage ourselves over time and transition from what was necessary and is still, to a great degree, the fossil fuel industry into the renewable energy industry. And maybe even we transition away from some of the nuclear ideas into some things that are less dangerous. And let me give you an example of what that looks like. We were asked to consult on a geothermal power plant. It was rated at 26 megawatts, but they have power purchase agreement for 40 megawatts for 20 years. And the ingenious way that this system works is we'll be placed a few units inside of the plant itself, catching some of that parasitic heat. But this is the brilliant part. The stuff they're getting ready to pump right back down into the earth, that geothermal brine that's about 150 degrees Fahrenheit. You can't make steam with that. Well, you can with tests. In fact, you can program it unit by unit to be within 2 degrees of specifically where you need that temperature to be. So by placing about a dozen units on the outside of the plant, which will cost about $22 million and pay for itself in less than 3 years, there's equipment that will last for a century with a charge every 10 to 20 years, depending on how rapidly they're cycling it. But it doesn't wear out. It's going to continue to function because most of what's happening is happening on a molecular level. It's melting and freezing. The thermal energy is being absorbed and released. And we have been experts at wasting energy, thermal energy, since we very first roasted our first venison over a fire back before we were even Homo sapiens. We're wasteful with thermal energy. Now we have a way to capture it. We're looking at a U.S. global launch this summer. We were delayed quite a bit. We were actually approved by the state of New York State Energy Research and Development Authority in 2019 for a grant, and for they wanted to buy some of our stuff. Gave us a place to be, which kind of melted away. Well, we still have access to the contracts, but some of the grants and things melted away because the border was closed and we lost basically 2 years, which the border opened last November, so we've been hitting this kind of hard until now. So in the U.S., we already have contracted with what we call limited run manufacturers, job shops that can do 1 to 5 of these units a week for us. And each unit sells for about 1.2, and the commission on that is about 10% to the distributor, and then they pay their sales rep. And there are some energy miner opportunities in there if you're interested in energy miners. And I'll be happy to set group or individual appointments with you to discuss those specifics. But here's what that means. One of those units, which is going to pay for itself in 1.5 to 4 years and last for a century or more, one of those units is going to reduce the carbon footprint for that, let's say, multi-story building, and at the same time reduce the amount of energy they have to consume so they're more profitable. That wins. Everybody wins all the way around. And by the way, that simple payoff of 1.5 to 4 years doesn't include some of the amazing incentives that are available, and even in some cases application of carbon offset credits. All right, so here's the opportunity. If you'd like to know more, I'd be happy to set an appointment with you. Susan Silvery is our executive project manager at MP Logan & Associates, and I don't know who's sending me a message, but it's obviously not that important. Anyway, I thought I had all that disconnected. I want to thank you for your attention, but the opportunities are this. Maybe you'd like to be an authorized distributor. We can set that up for you. Maybe you see yourself as partnering with an authorized distributor. Or maybe you see yourself as partnering with one of the 2 licensees or the corporate manufacturing plant here in the U.S., or maybe even partnering with the main core of smart phases, which is the synthetic phase change material itself, as well as directing how it's used in the test process. There's a tremendous opportunity if you know somebody who owns a power plant, a hospital, commercial building, shopping mall, or you know somebody who knows somebody, or maybe you know an accounting firm that works with those kind of companies. And all I'm saying to you is here's an opportunity. It's a cash cow. It does require some investment, time and resources. The lowest investment we have is a partner with one of our authorized distributors. Most of them are limited liability companies, and I think that the minimum is about $10,000 per unit. That's for accredited investors only. Now, on the other hand, let's say you'd like to be an energy miner. What that looks like is about $50,000 of your money, unless you want to hire somebody else to do the work, and then that's on you. But that will include your training on a system that will allow you to be able to assess the rough order of magnitude value of the NovaCap thermal energy storage system to your potential client so that you can graduate that to a contract and put 20, 30, 40, 50, $100,000 in your pocket. And who knows, maybe it's a multi-unit installation. The one installation that we're looking at in the petrochemical industry, so far, that person who made a connection because his wife used to work in the accounting department of that petrochemical plant, that is worth so far, depending on how much they adopt globally, that's going to be worth about $33 million to them. That's their commission on this. Not all of them are like that. Some of them are. But there are a lot of $20, $50, $60, $100,000 out there. If that's of interest to you and you'd like to learn how you can put the environment and profit together and drive the environmental issues from the bottom line, or drive the bottom line from environmental issues, whichever side of that coin you find yourself on, here is the answer to both of those. I would love to be able to dig into this with you. Please go to our website if you'd like to learn more, mplogan.co. That's www.mplogan.co. Thank you for your attention. I hope you don't feel I've wasted your time. And more importantly, I hope you're enthused and find this to be something you'd like to engage in. Have a great day. Good to talk to you.